Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Mostly From Scratch. I'm your host, Mr. Munchies, and today I'm going to show you how I make my sausage gravy. So in a 2-quart saucepan, I started out with 2 links of hot Italian sausage that I took out of the casing, cooked down, and then I used a package of hot breakfast sausage, threw it on top of that, cooked that down. And of course, everything is always to taste. If you want to use mild sausage, that'll work just fine. So I've got this cooked down, as you can see. Don't drain this off because the fat from the sausage is going to be your binding agent for your flour. So to this, I'm going to add a half a cup of all-purpose flour. And what we're going to do is basically make a roux using the flour and the fat from the sausage. So to take that, we mix that together. We're set at about a medium heat here. Get this all mixed in real good. You can see it's starting to come together. It's getting kind of pasty. And that's exactly what you want because we're making a roux with this. So once you have that combined together, you're going to need about a quart of milk, depending on how thick you want your gravy to be. It will depend on how much milk you add to it. So you add a little bit of time, because you don't want to cool it off too much, and stir it around. Get the milk incorporated. Add a little bit more. Keep stirring it. See what it's starting to look like here. Now, I like to use the couple links of Italian sausage because it adds a little bit different flavor. The spices and the herbs and the spices in the Italian sausage add a little bit to it. Get this worked in. Now to me there's a difference between sausage gravy and what most people call country gravy. To me, country gravy is something that you put over chicken fried steak or pork chops, and it doesn't have any meat in it. It's just a white gravy, basically just milk and flour. To this I add sausage, and it becomes sausage gravy. So, for your biscuits and gravy. So get this worked in here. See how it's starting to change? I'll turn my heat up a little bit because the milk's cooling everything off. Actually, I'm going to crank it up because that milk was cold. It's better if you let your milk sit out for a little while to get up to room temperature. That way when you start making your gravy here, it doesn't cool off too much. Alright, we're getting steam again, so that's what we want. Nice and hot. Add a little bit more. Also too, you can adjust your flour as you want as well. I typically use 1/2 cup. I mean, you could go 3/4 of a cup if you want your stuff really thick, or you could use 1/3 of a cup, 1/4 cup if you don't want your gravy to be as thick. But for 2 links of sausage and 1 package of breakfast sausage, that's typically what I use. So Looks like we're just about there. Of course, it looks a little thin now, but you let it cook for a few minutes and it will thicken up again. But for this video, I think I'm going to stop right there. That was almost a quart. There's about that much left in there. And I'm going to go ahead and pull a couple of biscuits out of the toaster oven. Ta-da! Get this out of here. Turn the heat back down. Drop it down to a simmer now. Let's see if I can get a close up on that. Alright, throw a little bit of that up on the biscuits. This is a little too thin for me right now. I should let it cook down, but for this video, I'm going to suffer through it. Alright, look at that. Yummy. Let's give it a try. It's probably hot and I'm going to burn my mouth. Alright, there we go. Once again, another awesome dish. So, it's been another episode of Mostly from Scratch. I'm Mr. Munchies, so let's plate up and chow down.